Look, I don't need to introduce you to these types of lifters. They're a group of people that have seeped into the fitness algorithm of all of the social media platforms and are haunting my daily nightmares. You know exactly what they look like. They're skinny, possibly even overweight. They tell you how to train and tell you that you're also training incorrectly. They might be anywhere from 17 to 21 years of age, claiming that they have unlocked the secret to infinite hypertrophy. They have the best of all time training methods, and they are keeping that shit locked tight. As well, their training methods are uniquely founded in the methods of science. These principles shine radiantly over basically all other previous principles of training and even other science-based principles. Of course, disregarding decades of bodybuilders and other strength athletes who have dedicated their entire life to the craft of bodybuilding and being as hyper-analytical, documenting everything, reforming the smallest details to make a perfect series of weeks align in their training for decades straight. In some cases, bodybuilders have been doing this for 20 plus years, then taking that information, handing it down to the next guy that they're coaching, and implementing further iterations and improvements on this method. It's almost kind of like science, one would say. But it's irrelevant in the eyes of these people because, well, the research shows. But let's just review some of the crew we're discussing here. You love to see it. You love to see it. And if you do, you should subscribe or something, right? Because like 2/3 of you don't subscribe that watch these videos. I'm just saying, it might be a little helpful. Here we have Exhibit A, the king of talking in absolutes. Let's point a few things out, for instance. A guy named Coben Moore, I guess, commented, if you have grip strength issues with a cable lateral raise, you have bigger problems. I couldn't help but agree more. Respectfully, I think these people need more advice than advice that they give. They need to consume more advice before giving more advice. They need to have trial by fire before explaining to somebody what trial by fire feels like. Now, is he directly wrong? Well, no. Again, these are technically correct thoughts. The idea of cuffing higher on your arm to recruit more of your shoulder, or at least not recruit more other muscles and create a more or less efficient movement, is generally correct. However, it doesn't seem to work so well in practice. We have people for, once again, decades and decades, multiple decades, that have built amazing delts that have never even used a cuff before. Yet these science lifter soy boys would like to tell you that this overcomplication of simple movements is necessary to see the results that you want to see. And it's not like they're just creating these movements out of thin air. Many of them have been tried before, implemented in many different training programs, and fundamentally were indifferent. They provided indifferent results. No one experienced exaggerated gains over a long-term time horizon by trying these different techniques. I mean, 15 years ago, homie posted this video. And you see a lot of the reason that stuff like this, even though it's been talked about almost 2 decades ago and likely far before that, we just didn't see it, is that it's just not so sustainable. I'm not trying to go to the gym and be some jit and just bring all of this equipment with me, or take all of the equipment in the gym and take 15-20 minutes to set up all the movements that I need to set up. I want to go to the gym and train my body, right? That's like the goal, and I want to leave as soon as possible because I don't want to live there. And oftentimes in life, of course, with all things, but mostly in training, the simplest answer is often the best solution. In this case, grabbing a pair of dumbbells that have been collecting dust because nobody uses dumbbells anymore. You know, the dumbbells that have created amazing world title holding shoulders, those ones, literally the ones on the best Mr. Olympias that have ever existed, those dumbbells, they work just fine. I promise you. Yo Talks on Instagram is another criminalistic offender of this demographic. He posts some of the most estranged content that I have ever seen, and it's very hard to determine whether he is basically trolling and rage baiting oftentimes, or if he's actually being legitimate.
Have truly ascended and have found the best setup to perform supination for the biceps. And yes, I'm using 2 cables and the bench.
Show me your biceps. Show me your biceps immediately.
There's also this piece of content.
Another thing that I don't get from this video from Monday is that he said when you close off the range of motion, all of the lat fibers are going to be active, but the lats don't even have best leverage there. Like if you take a look at the Ackland data, the red and orange are going to be your pecs. They have best leverage in like that bottom 40 degrees of range of motion for adduction. So the pecs straight up have best leverage when you close off that range of motion. So how would that be more lats, let alone activate all fibers of the lats? So yeah, I hope so.
Which the Mundy guy that he's talking about here is about 16 times his size and strength, as well as an established trainer. You think that he would probably have the expertise just through raw experience, let alone some science drizzled in. He's probably seen it in plenty of people in real time versus what the Yotox guy has probably ever seen in his entire life. But let's take it from another guy, Andre Smov. I think that's how you say his name. I've honestly never actually learned how to say it. He's the freak that has the biggest hands and forearm combo that I've ever seen. If he ever put his hands through my throat, I would probably just die. He reminds me of Conquest from Invincible more than any other human on this fucking planet. Well, apparently his training is all wrong. It's fundamentally all wrong. His pursuit and his journey that he has spent his entire life on trying to refine and improve has been completely a mistake. It's been invalid.
What's going on in Russia, man? Like, Andrei Smilov's forearm routine, and this is not hyperbole when I say this, cardio. Like, bro, he said he did 1,500 reps of this dude. 15 sets of 100 reps. Just to put this into comparison, 1,500 steps, like actual cardio, takes like 15 minutes to do. That's his, like, strength training workout, dude. Actual cardio. I genuinely would not be surprised if he does more reps in his sessions because he does thousands of reps. Then he walks steps during his day. We need somebody to tap into the Yopo to infiltrate Russia because literally almost everything I see from this guy does not even cause muscle growth.
You know, this is kind of like telling an artist that his art isn't art.
That's not art. That's just annoying.
It's like that one SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob took Squidward's art class and he made a statue that was magnificent, and Squidward said, "No, that's not art," because he was disappointed in his own statues. He made something, didn't he? It may not be impressive to the, professional artist, so to speak. However, maybe that guy just sold that art piece for $3.5 million. Meanwhile, the professional artist is living off cans of beans to make it by. And there's so many more videos like this that I could spam, but even the main science-based lifters that are out there are starting to call this bullshit out.
All right, this is a general message that goes out to the science-based lifting community, creators in general. When you say that something doesn't work and objectively people have done that thing and gotten good results from doing that thing, you look like an idiot. TNFO.
Bit by Fox comments something exponentially awesome. Me. But I've gained tons of muscle doing that thing you say doesn't work. Teenager science, bro. It's because you have good genetics. 1 in a million genetics, dog. That's it.
1 in a million. 1 in a million. 1 in how much? A million. A million.
This encapsulates everything that we're talking about here. If you say that they're wrong or you say that they're being overbearing, well, you just don't know what they're talking about. And you aren't included because you're taking gear, you have exceptional genetics, or some other excuse which isn't anything valid. You know, C-Bum, right? The guy who's won the Mr. Olympia in classic physique for, I don't know, several years, almost a decade straight. Like, the man is an OG. He isn't safe either.
Now, you've probably heard of the involuntary slowing of contraction velocity, but now get ready for the voluntary quickening of contraction velocity. This is a cursed technique that you can only unlock by having completed the gym, as our friend Chris here has. But if you do ever find yourself in a similar situation where the stack is too light and you're going to have to do way too many reps, let's say like 6, and you're just sick and tired of having to waste your time with all those unstimulating reps, here is my ranking of the top 5 ways to make an exercise more difficult. Number 1, gym pin. Duh. Same exercise, change nothing and just add more weight. Number 2, do it unilaterally. Solid alternative plus added benefit of more motor unit recruitment. Yay. Number 3, add bands if you have them. This will work better for exercises that prioritize the mid to shortened position, so there are some limitations, but you can get creative and make it work. Number 4, do an isometric. These can be a fine option, but it's hard to standardize progress, and they're not fun, so I'm not going to put them high up on the list. And lastly, number 5 is just do a higher rep set. I know, holy fatigue. Look, I would always try to find an alternative to doing a 15 plus rep set if I can, but if you got to do it, you got to do it, and it will still build muscle. Not as effectively as a lower rep range, and it will extend out your recovery time, hence why it's last on the list, but it still works.
Let's try another one on for size. No, I promise, unfortunately, this isn't even a joke. This is real. I would love to actually know how much more this would be improving abdominal development versus normal ab stuff. Genuinely, I would love to see. In fact, let's just, this is just me chilling on a Monday afternoon, folks. Do you know how I got my abs? I certainly didn't train them. A lot of you might know that I lived in Thailand for a very long time, and while I was in Thailand, I would regularly go to fight camps about twice a day, 3 hours each session to do Muay Thai. Do you know what they do for ab training? They kick. They kick things. They even kick trees, bro. They just kick trees. I am so far from kidding right now. I don't know how a human could never train abs like an angelical science-based lifter and have yet some of the best abdominal development I have ever seen on a human being. By the way, this is Bakhao. He, absolute Muay Thai legend. An absolute fucking Muay Thai legend. The point here is that there's multiple ways to skin a cat. And from my point of view, everyone who has done things differently than the science-based lifter community, so to speak, has been getting overwhelmingly better results than them and has continually looked better for a longer period of time than them. They've also genuinely helped more people look more impressive than any science-based lifter has been able to do. And I don't really get the obsession either. Why do they have to call out everybody and tell them that they're wrong and objectively say that person doesn't know what they're doing? Meanwhile, they're literally the best bodybuilder on the planet. I mean, at a certain point, they're literally just rage baiting. And it's such an odd phenomenon seeing men fighting each other in the comments about how training needs to be done, how to train correctly. And meanwhile, neither of them look like they even hand lift to begin with. Look, what these people need, we just need to send them Uzbekistan, put them over there for a year, give them a gym, give them a little room, and tell them to figure it out. Tell them to figure it out. Tell them to go to Thailand and head over to Muscle Factory and try to do all this weird shit and just see what happens. It would be awesome. It would be so cool. I am all for science.
Yes, science!
I think it moves forward the industry in many different ways, but in a lot of ways, just like religion, the Bible can be read and interpreted in hundreds of different ways, as there is hundreds of religions based around the same book. This too can be true, where science can be interpreted in many different ways and people become so strongly bound to what they believe in. And simply put, they try to literally reinvent the wheel to feel some sort of significance in their life, but the answers are just right there in front of them. Look, we've maxed out physiques like 10, 15 years ago. We got the best set of physiques that steroids could ever get, that training could ever get, that the amount of nutritional specificity could ever get. They don't get much better than what they've gotten to unless we do start developing genetic modifications or use CRISPR variants to alter people to a point where they can exceptionally pass what has been the barrier. But I don't think doing some weird shit with bands and straps is going to make you any more significant than just doing the basic shit. I don't know. What do you guys think? Tell me down below.